on to the LEC for our match of the week, G2 versus Origen. The reigning champions are on form here in week 1, and they face off against an Origen looking to bounce back after a tough loss. We've talked a lot about the matchup already, and we're also going to cover picks and bans here at the desk. But first, I want to talk about these two gentlemen behind you. I feel that Perkz and Upset really embody a lot of what both their entire teams fight for. We saw it in the hype video as well. You have an Upset who is striving for that trophy, who is striving for that highest tier of competition and winning on the biggest stage in Europe. And you have a Perkz who's done it all before and is only looking forward. And it's also his return to the bot lane. I think it's fair to say he had a great return.
Yeah, his day one was absolutely insane. And yeah, like Upset's a fantastic bot laner, but I'm almost all ready to say, like, Perkz back in bot lane, probably the best bot laner in our league again. Like, he's just that talented.
I mean, he is, and he had such a great debut. He was gifted one of the strongest AD carries in the current meta, so there is that caveat, and we'll see how things adapt throughout the day, or rather in this upcoming matchup. But how can you not say that with Caps being back in the mid lane, we pretty much saw exactly what we saw from them last year. Caps roaming around the map, the game just going extremely quickly, and the bot lane dominating once more.
A tall order for OG. They did lose yesterday, I said, against SK. So let's dive a bit into what we may expect out of this draft. Of course, you said it already yesterday, prioritizing that Vars for Perkz, spelling out the game plan for G2. But talk to me about what you took away from both these drafts.
Well, one of the big things for G2 in particular was, Endo was talking a lot about it in the cast yesterday, was how this is quite a difficult composition to play, but the way in which they executed upon it was extremely clean. Utilizing range, utilizing good flanks, and making sure that positioning and setup was very important, demonstrated not only do they have a good understanding of the meta, but also how to execute upon it.
And the way that G2 played within this game, like, yes, the team fights and knowing like when to actually fully commit was fantastic, but also having a Mordekaiser that can't get killed in the side lane, while G2 were constantly grouping up with forward people and attacking the opposite side of the map. It was a beauty to watch.
It was. We are already getting into picks and bans. Can you just summarize what you wanted to say about OG? What kind of was lacking, or what did you like about it?
Well, I felt like Origen's comp was from spring earlier this year. I felt like that it was a little bit, I'm not going to call it archaic because it's not that old, but I do think that it's a little old school. The high priority on the Gragas, picking Misfortune as an answer to the Ezreal for lane dominance, which they weren't even able to get. So I'm hoping that we see some adaptations to put a little bit more priority on what I think are the strongest picks in the current.
And our hope and our thoughts were that maybe they were holding a bit back and they didn't necessarily want to show all the cards of what they've been working on because this is such an important game for them up versus G2. So I hope that's what we see from Origen, or they just run it back and they smash G2 with this comp, but that's not very
Well,
likely.
I hope so, because as Ender and I pointed out earlier, one of the biggest issues for Origen was communication in their coordination in setting up plays and actually executing upon them around objectives. So I hope we see a cleaner Origen today. We know they can do it. They had a great playoffs performance. So let's have a look at this draft.
Yeah, ban-wise, the Kalista and the Trundle off the table, not wanting to give away that Kalista, and the Syndra got through last game. We saw what that meant, and the Vars taken off the table. They saw that game yesterday.
Yeah, I think that makes a whole lot of sense here. Otherwise, that's an immediate first pick here for G2. So already I'm sort of thinking, how high does Ezreal go sort of in draft priority? Back when Perkz was playing bot lane, he did love that champion for sure right there. And with the Yuumi left available, you have to be looking at that power 2v2.
That's the one I'm looking at. And do Origen choose to ban it away? Things like the Graves, how high are they on the priority list for G2 Esports? It looks like that is what's going to be taken off the board, which means that, do you think Ezreal becomes the priority, or do you think Yuumi becomes the first pick?
I think it's the Ezreal, right? Because a lot of people, I think, don't necessarily love pairing Yuumi with a lot of these other bot lane champions. Like Yuumi Ezreal
Like
is so insane. Yeah, exactly. But the Ezreal by itself doesn't really reveal too much about your composition. You can go pretty much any direction you want with that pick already.
I think that's fair, yeah. And I do think that Aphelios Yuumi can still be very potent. I think that we've seen some scary late game comps with Zillion plus Aphelios, for example, that are a devastating and scary duo. And one pick that has been really interesting to me is the rise of Set Jungle. And coming into this split, it was actually something we didn't talk at all about, but has suddenly taken the league by storm.
Yeah, I think the Set Jungle is pretty strong here, and we're still waiting to see where it goes, because the power of the set so early on is that it can still flex, but we've seen matchups in the top lane where it can struggle, so jungle has sort of been the safe place to send it. We see early on, especially with the Hex Flash, the repeatable ganks on this champion aren't actually that bad, especially if you can come at a good angle in towards the lanes, and also his tower diving, quite good thanks to the shield he gets from that Haymaker.
Yeah, it does seem that for OG, there is a totally different game plan than yesterday, and that's great to see. They didn't want to show all their cards. They might go for that set jungle we've seen a lot of, and the Aphelios for upset. What's going to be the next pick for Caps or whoever?
A lot of tempting jungle hovers right now. I really like the look of a lot of them, but it seems he's going to stick with his tried and true in the Lee Sin. I think that Lee Sin is a very controversial jungler in the eyes of many analysts because of how early game focused the champion is and how it tends to fall off later into the game when you have a much more scaling meta. If you don't have easy lanes to play around, it can become a lot harder for this Lee Sin to actually find success.
Yeah, and the struggle for Jankos later on especially is because with the common answer we've seen into Ezreal Yuumi is the Lulu plus the Aphelios. Lulu polymorph, absolutely miserable for Lee Sin that's trying to get in the backline and go for an insect kick. The set ultimate also is going to instantly shut that down. So this champion instantly becomes way more difficult to execute later on and sort of has to change his style. It's no longer, can you actually look for an insane kick, and more, well, we actually probably have to use that to kick a set away from our backline.
A very exciting matchup that we'll also still have to see is Alphari versus Wonder. Where will that go? The Renekton is off the table, and so is the Ornn, so they're definitely thinking about it, both of the teams. What do we think of the top laners' performance yesterday, and should it be...
I mean, Alphari still looks insane, right? Like, I think this guy is the best performing player on the Origen roster at the moment, and whatever he gets his hands on, it's going to look good. I would love to see them, again, save a counter pick for him. We actually saw yesterday the inverse where Wonder got the Mordekaiser counter pick into the Wukong, and that looked really deadly. So if I'm Origen here, I say, hey, Nukeduck, you suck it up a little bit in this game. You're gonna have to blind like an Orion, or the Orion gets banned.
It's an Azir, sure. It is. Yeah. I'm looking at this comp right now, and if Origen don't take Azir, G2 are likely going to blind pick it. I think that Azir is just the safest blind pick in the meta right now. The expected response would typically be something like a Zoe, which is something that Origen may be aware of. They may choose to pick it themselves, or they may just choose to go for a different direction. The Corki here, I wonder, I don't think it's a Caps champion, but Cassidy is always something I think about when I see the Corki locked in because of its ability to outscale in a side lane and how it can be a strong bully.
It's the Zoe Ezreal.
It's the Zoe.
Yeah, this is actually, this is going to play very similar to the Ezreal, or the Zoe plus Varus that G2 ran yesterday. So very much about poke, about siege, about killing you from range. And this is where G2 looks so incredibly dominant, I feel, because their understanding of like the range they can play against you without you being able to jump on top, but you get so close with those champions, you can layer down the poke. It becomes really miserable to play if you don't have strong engage. And Origen do not have strong engage.
Yeah, I think the only thing they're lacking right now is a means to actually start a fight reliably, which is kind of puts the responsibility on Alphari to play that type of champion. And I think that's why it was quite good for G2 to actually pick the Wukong, because you then deny one of those engage tools. Wukong plus Lulu can be a devastating combo, and now G2 get themselves a couple of engage tools, along with Yuumi plus engage is typically always a very strong combo for any team.
Interesting team comps on both sides. After the criticism we hauled towards OG yesterday, what do you think of this drafting comparison?
Ooh, I mean, I think OG do have a decent overall composition, but again, the lack of engage, sort of the gangplank somewhat remedies that, right? If Zoe jumps forward and tries to put down poke, you can layer down the ultimate, try to run people down, but this is a comp where you want G2 to come into and full-on engage, and I don't think G2 is going to give them that.
I think that with the Corki and the gangplank, you have room to play side lane. I'll be honest, in terms of the Gangplank versus Wukong late game, who the strongest side lane is, I can't say for sure. But I think the Origen do have options because Zoe's going to struggle to match Corki in a side lane later on. So with good teleport usage, and as long as OG don't fall too behind in the early game, I do think they have options as the game progresses.
There we go. Spicy drafts from both sides. It's going to be a great game. G2 Esports versus Origen.
And welcome to Summoner's Rift in the last game of Day 2 of Summer Split Week 1. I'm Quickshot, joined by Frostgrim for our match of the week. There's G2 Esports taking on Origen. And Frost, immediate reactions to the drafts.
My first reaction is actually on the Lulu pick. So the thing was, in the order of the draft, they saw the Ezreal and they saw the Lee Sin. And I feel like the analyst devs did a great job kind of covering why the adaptation might have been to pivot to Lulu when you see a Lee Sin because of how much you can deny when Lee Sin hops in, when he's looking for that hard engage.
Oh, hi.
Throw the whimsy. Oh, wow, sorry. Ooh. Yeah. You throw the whimsy on him and deny. I talk with my hands a lot. I wasn't actually expecting that. But usually when you see an Ezreal priority pick, it gives the free Nautilus. Stop laughing, Trevor.
I just got so surprised.
You see the free Nautilus pick. Man, my point got ruined. Destiny's a great Nautilus player. I expected it to play Nautilus into the Ezreal. I'm excited to see the Lulu, but I think it was a pivot on the Lee Sin.
I really like that. And the point, I'm very sorry I ruined it. Huge kudos. I'm actually very thankful that you got our little lovely faces on broadcast. I want to turn attention to the Ezreal and the Yuumi. Dracos and Frostgurn yesterday posed a very important question. What is a better name for Ezreal plus Yuumi? If you're a social media user, the LEC Twitter channel tweeted this very question. And we've narrowed it down to 2 potential options. Is it Yeezy or Zoomy? Spam in chat. Can you explain them to me? Because I don't get them.
Okay, well, Ovally suggested Zoomy, and obviously the cat jumps onto you, get like the Zoomies is cute. Yeezy, because I'm a sneakerhead, but I was doing some research. Atlas posted it in the thread. The LCK called them James and Meowth, or Team Rocket.
Oh, I like that.
The Team Rocket to bot lane.
Okay. You didn't give me that option, though.
Well, no.
I get that one.
I'm secretly trying to convert everyone into sneakerheads.
Well, Yeezy or Zoomy, spam in chat, will officially declare the duo name in a few moments. And we're taking a look at Yeezy/Zoomy right now, pushing forward as Destiny Upset have been pushed backwards, and right now, pretty biased. But let's let that vote play through, and what do you think of the early laning phase so far?
Well, the important thing that anytime you have an Ezreal or a Yuumi, a Zoomy, if you will, thank you, chat, you want to make sure that you get to the wave first. We talk about this all the time. I believe Crepo was the OG, is that if the longer you stay at level 1, the more power Ezreal's going to have over you. And so if he gets to that lane first, hold it.
Yeah, a lot of damage coming up from Jankos.
So if he gets to that lane first, and he stands in front of the wave, and he's just taking pot shots at you with the Mystic Shot, and that's exactly what Perkz and Mickey did walking into this lane. Upset and Destiny were responsible for leashing, which means that Perkz and Mickey have had a pretty good go at them, and Aphelios hasn't gotten the power to just, you know, hard shove or continuously shove them under their tower.
Yeah, absolutely the case. Taking those pot shots makes such a big difference, and for the time being, I think the public have spoken. Thank you, fans and viewers at home. I think here on out, we'll have to make it official that they are the Zoomy duo lane. That is Ezreal plus Yuumi. I do want to take a look when we get a moment or two at this Gangplank, who's currently pushing very heavily into the Wukong, level 17 versus 16. Wukong, obviously a champion that has risen in popularity this split.
Yeah, and Wukong does really well when he's against AD matchups because of his passive stone skin, obviously allowing him to stack up armor. So as we see Wukong gain more popularity, AP champions really put a thorn in his side. It's now bot lane.
Yeah, there's a gigantic thorn in Upset side below 100 HP. The shield comes up from the Lulu underneath the tower. Destiny turns it around for first blood to Origen.
I believe it was also a huge shout out there from Upset. I think he snared him. Did he have the purple gun?
I was only watching the HP on Upset to see whether or not he was going to die, but when we get a replay, we'll have to take a look. I mean, the gank came in. I honestly thought he was done. The heal, the barrier, as well as I think the shield from Lulu, we'll have to get a close-up on that, but that was well played. Origen first blood.
Yes, very exceptionally well played. I cannot wait to see in the replay exactly what happened mechanically there. Now, okay, here we go, buckle in. What do you see up there? He does have the purple gun. I think it was. I think Jankos got snared under tower.
Taking a look, so Glitterlance gets the double slow. Barrier shield was there. That was the help pick, saw the shield coming out from Lulu too. Really nicely done. And now all of a sudden the reply gank, Xerxes gets the double stun, the true damage burst, and the last auto to Upset. Remember when Origen lost to SK? Well, Origen are bouncing back. They get a reply to the gank, and Xerxes with a beautiful setup.
Yeah, really needed assistance there as well because the wave was in a great spot for them, especially because Upset is missing both his summoner spells. But now Xerxes look at mid. Here's the Hex Flash.
Nicely done. Xerxes now taking some damage. Sleepy Trouble Bubble, as the Super Saiyan set is not going to get sunk and slept in the mid lane. Caps will have to back away, and at the end of the day, nearly 1,000 gold lead to Origen. Very strong opening in their bottom lane.
Yeah, their early game, they've come out basically swinging, not just in the ganks, but also in kind of the ganks that we slipped over. I do want to make a quick point about it because it does go to show how proactive Origen are being in this game. They were actually setting up for a level 3, level 4 dive topside on that big wave that Alfari had built out because both Set and Corki were moving there and then pulled the plug on it and reacted to Jankos when he ganked bottom. And we already heard it on the desk. Set really excels diving because of his W, and they're going to dive Wonder again.
Yeah, they really are. Wonder's going to get caught up by that chilling smite, gets pulled backwards by Xerxes, gets punched in the face, and a flash parlay, 3-0. I actually spoke to Deficio about this game. I spoke to him about the result yesterday, and Deficio said, look, when you play against G2, OG are going to take the fight to G2. They're going to channel what they try to do during the spring playoffs, and you have to be willing to skirmish. You have to be willing to fight. And it is very good to see that not only the reaction to the Jankos gank, but Xerxes has honestly been in every single lane before the 7-minute mark.
Yeah, making that Set jungle really pay off from and showcasing how powerful those ganks can be with all of the movement speed abilities that he's got piled onto his kit.
0-0-2. And now going to clear out this ward in the bottom lane.
I should say his kit and his runes.
Ooh.
Phase rush, hex flash, movement speed on the Q.
Yep.
Zipping.
Making it very clear, wants to be able to get in, and that's before you add all the additional tools that Lulu can give to you as well. Give the movement speed plus a glitter lance, and that's it, donezo.
And I feel like the analyst just was talking about how Origen's composition lacks hard engage, and that's fairly obvious. They don't have the best tools. You know, there's no Malphite on the team, no Maokai, anything like that. But they do have this idea where you throw down the Gangplank ultimate, and then you use Lulu to speed up race car Set and just have him sprint at the team.
Yeah.
And this is often kind of like what people would play when they would play like Sivir comps. They'd have like the Gangplank Sivir, and like he places the ult behind you, and then Sivir zips everyone forwards.
I mean, Alfari literally just landed a powder keg on Wonder's face and a parlay to run him down. I mean, Wonder walked into that, and Alfari gets a freebie. He's nearly 20 CS up, 2 kills to 0. You do not want to accelerate Gangplank.
You also don't want to get smacked like that in the lane phase. Alfari didn't even hit him with an emote. He just ran him down.
So, Origen out the gates with a 2,000 gold lead before 10 minutes. And now we need to see how this continues to develop. Destiny's already backed. You can see the swap coming in. 8 minutes on the clock. Upset with the BF sword and the pickaxe. Going to be moving to the top lane. Perks and Mickey going to usher this wave forward. Do you anticipate OG making a move for Herald, or is this... Oh, there we go. They're on it already, so yes.
Yeah, they've got the perfect guns to do so. It's red-white Aphelios, which means he can tear through these monster objectives, so it's also a less risky Herald, but they are moving without Corki. Now, Corki does have package.
And there's a lot of damage. That paddle start just fell short. Destiny, by the way, heal and flash to get over the wall. They gift wrap the Rift Herald. Caps steals the objective away.
So here's the thing. It was the right idea by Origen. Again, they have the perfect guns on Aphelios to go for that. They had the initial tempo lead because they were the first one to swap, but their back timer with their mid laner wasn't quite to sync for Nuktuk to have package to be in position to then push down onto the Herald. So G2 kind of catch them in one of their fumbled setups. Give them an inch, they take a mile, and they now have the Herald and are looking to use the top.
Yeah, they really are. 3-man stack versus the 4-man Zumi coming in with the support of Wukong as well as Jankos' Rift Herald. Tower First Blood is available. It's before 10 minutes on the clock. And with the stack and the boop, Shelly's going to help out a lot here, making up the difference. I also think interesting to see some of the gold there does go over to Wonder. May not have enough time to take the tower down, but it is going to close that gold a little. Still a 2,000 advantage.
Yeah, and I do want to swap over to gold if we can, observers, right now, and check what's happening with Alfari out into the bot lane. Yeah, that's a big gold lead that's been given away, because while all this action has been happening top lane, this guy, level 9 right now with a massive gold lead.
Oh, there we go. Perks is going to use that Arcane Shift to get away. Cersei goes forward. Perks forced to use the flash as well.
Sorry, there's a screen, so I can't motion across to you. That's a 2-level disadvantage between the top laners.
I mean, if we take a look at Wonder very quickly, we started talking about his passive, the fact that it gives armor. We're talking about the matchup into Alfari and the Gangplank. The game moved away from him. So we can't break down that specifically, but when you take a look at like traditional skill order, traditional itemization, the fact that Wonder's in this hole, how do you anticipate his impact in the game to play out?
I mean, the initial point was that Wukong is okay in these types of matchups. It's really the Mordekaisers and the Rumbles that will really be a thorn in his side, I think is what we said earlier, his control around team fights. But when Gangplank is this far ahead of him and that much closer to level 11, like, as soon as Alphari's level 11, Origen are going to be a nightmare.
Take a look at the damage coming out. The double Cyclone does
So
a
well
lot.
done.
Cannon Barrage comes back in, but I think the Ninja Tabi on Alphari really helped him out a lot, plus the minion wave, and he backs out to safety.
Yeah, also pulled back onto his own barrel, got the speed up, moved behind the minions to make sure that Lee Sin couldn't connect really any tangible damage to him, and then just like walks them back out. And again, 2 points, level 11, he'll be that much faster onto his barrels. Gangplank is going to be a big issue
He
for
really, really is.
G2.
Now, what I really like is, first of all, Origen outplay the gank that starts to build up the advantage, and then Xerxes with some very impressive moves, and Alphari currently styling a Wonder. But it wasn't the early game that really was some of the troublesome times for Origen in the spring split, right? It was the mid game, it was some of the decision making. So now we really get to do a taste test. What they can do with the lead, what they can do with this composition, and honestly, kind of what the set Lulu or the GP Lulu combo is going to do. Because I think there are a number of options they can play with.
Yeah, at this point, Origen should feel really confident about how they've gotten through the early game. One of the biggest differences is the fact that Caps hasn't been living in these side lanes that we saw previously from G2. It's been a good job from Nukeduck. The Corki pick certainly helps to contest some of that wave clear in the early portion and at least keep Caps kind of locked down, as well as also having TP and access to a package that if he does go wild and start zipping out to those side lanes, that Nukeduck would have the answer to follow.
Super, super good point, because I remember the analyst desk also talking about the fact that when Nukeduck locked in the Corki, I think Azir was actually the leading, potential or option. And now you get to understand it, and Frosk, I think you just painted a fantastic picture of how Nukeduck can respond. Yesterday, Caps, his Zoe was roaming everywhere. Now Wonder's running for his life. We'll have that clone for a brief second. No tower has fallen yet, by the way. Still a minute and a bit before those turret plates fall. In the top lane, G2 are busy pushing very heavily. And the Zumi lane, Perks and Mickey will be able to take that down, but OG will get the tower and a dragon. Advantage Origen.
Yep, numbers advantage on the bot side. G2, of course, are trading this for plates top side as well as free waves going into that Ezreal's back pocket. We talk about this all the time. Power spikes, blah, 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 blah. But basically, both teams are making their handshake, and everyone knows what's happening. Like, G2 knew that that dragon was going to go over to Origen. Origen, they know that they know, so we're going to take it, so we all know. Everyone knows.
I know you know. I know you know. Wonder plus Jankos this time round. They're going to get the Cyclone damage onto Nukeduck. He does go down underneath the tower. Thus far, it's a trade. 1-for-1 mid for jungle. Alphari's joined the fray. Wonder's burning down. Not going to be able to get taken out, and Alphari can't find the second. Cannon Barrage has just become available. He's thrown down the barrels on the ultimate rather, and there comes the showstopper. Now Caps is the next one that's in trouble. He's forced to flash away with his own flash, and Alphari didn't find the kill. G2 only got that one.
Caps and Wukong there just like throwing back potions, bleeding out, trying to survive.
Unbelievable. And also, so annoying to try and kill those two champions.
Yeah, also on the back end, Alphari set the ultimate down to the tower trying to find the snipe on Wonder. He's like playing dodgeball.
Dodge, dip, duck, and dive. Do you know what I love about this? A few seconds ago, you were saying that I know, you knew, I knew, you knew, I knew, you knew. Nobody knew that Origen were going to be able to have this level of early game after yesterday's, defeat. It is really fun and interesting, and I love the discussion that's going to come from it.
It's not over yet, Trevor.
No, it's not. It's not, absolutely, right? Especially when you see the damage that Caps is already putting out. But, like, by contrast, you wouldn't know it was the same team if you turned name tags off.
Yeah, that's a good point. You talk about the development of Origen, how they've turned the page. They basically ran into their first game with the 2019 composition, coming straight out of summer, right into spring, and now we finally see the updated version of Origen, which they can attack you in the early game.
Yes, they can. They're willing to get down and dirty and fight. And
speaking of down and dirty, this is rude.
Oh. Can you think of a more annoying duo than Zoe plus Yuumi? Paddlestar goes out, Sleepy Trouble Bubble. Jankos manages to find the kick. Somehow Nukeduck still survives and finally goes down. But honestly, he survived way longer than I was expecting. Nevertheless, G2 get the second kill of the game.
You can only play it as well as you can. Now, the thing about Origen is that Nuke Duck and Upset are massive grinders. They play a ton of solo queue games. They're constantly sitting on the top end of the ladder, and it gives them reflexes like that. You don't normally get to see it, because when you think about Nuke Duck as, you know, he's the control mage player, he just kind of sits, pushes the wave back and forth. Everyone says he's good, but I haven't seen him do anything. Yeah, died there, but like you said, impressive for how long he survived.
I just love when you see so many skill shots coming in and they hold their ground for a little while. But this is where you get those nerves starting to set in, right? G2 find themselves 2 kills. They slowly kind of weasel their way out of some of the engages that Origen are putting down. But I do think it's important to point out, Origen have got 2 Drakes already. There's another Cloud in 1 minute and 50 seconds, so they're getting closer to that Cloud Soul. And movement speed, I think, can benefit this team even more as well. When you think of, they don't have that hard engage, we've talked about that many times already. So I think the impetus will be for OG to work towards that Soul as quickly as they can.
It's also the fact that everyone benefits from having those CDR, especially on the ultimates there.
Yeah, absolutely.
The thing is that if this turns into a game where G2 let Origen continue to stack Drakes, and then Origen are potentially playing for kind of a Soul or an Elder, G2's composition thrives in playing in those rivers because it is a poke-style comp, which means that lack of engage or consistent engage from Origen has to be on point. So all eyes for me are really on Xerxes and Alfari and how they're going to punish G2's composition when they just kind of stand, plant their feet, and start throwing out all this poke.
And conversely, right, how do Caps and Perks punish OG, like shooting fish in a barrel when they're in those objectives? And if at any point they group up or there's an opportunity for Wonder to flank with the you know, Cyclone, the potential for double Cyclone, it's gonna get spicy. But look, G2, they're still behind. They're down 2.5k, they're down 2 dragons. We've got a few big item spikes coming through. Trinity Force was picked up by Alfari, IH Zeal for Upset Manamune, as well as Sheen for Perks. So, you know, we're scaling. 30 seconds to the next dragon fight. Let's look at Vision. G2 with some shallow wards towards the river, maybe a little bit there around Banana Bush, but neither team with really strong setup on Vision right now.
It's fine because G2 have the Crab, which is why they feel really confident taking a reset with only 15 seconds left for Drake to spawn, because they don't have to immediately be in river to contest that Vision. Origen, of course, walking right over it and then saying, okay, that's fine, we're stuck underneath our tower, which means G2 will get the initial setup here. And again, this is where a comp like G2's comp thrives. It's when you try to approach these dark areas, these dark
and you have to walk through the
spots.
skill shots.
We're going to walk through the choke points.
Yeah, exactly. And then the skill shots within the choke points. OG conceded. Okay, so they've got the Dragon advantage. Do you like the idea? Was this they're late to the play? I mean, it felt to me like Perks and Mickey kind of had mid-siege on lockdown. There was a lot of time spent defending that.
I think it was a really early call from Origen because Nuke Duck's been sitting with that wave for a long time. He initially held it on his side and then just really slowly pushed it back and denied a big area where G2 would have to overextend to farm. So this is Origen making a conscious decision to be like, yeah, that's fine. Give them their first Cloud Drake. We'll trade it for massive farm and EXP on Corki.
All right, 185 CS. The tower is defended. Caps was able to get up there. Looking at the bigger picture, though, plus 25 CS for Alfari still. Minor disadvantage for Upset. So kind of net CS still in favor of OG. And that net gold difference still 2.5k in favor of OG. Let's talk about scaling. Feels to me a little bit OG side, maybe with the difference being execution on that scaling is more challenging.
I mean, it's always going to come down to that. I would say yes, because it's Corki Aphelios, as well as a Gangplank there. I think it's a pretty safe call, but it's G2. It feels like you can never count them out.
No, you can't. You absolutely cannot. And they definitely would not want to lose to the team that lost to SK. You know, like just the drama and the memes. SK earned their victory yesterday. And OG also want to get, you know, a little bit of positive sentiment back on their side. There's a lot at stake right now.
I do think that G2 might find themselves really punished for opting into a Lee Sin rather than a different jungler. Obviously, in the 1v1 matchup, it feels like Jankos really likes it. He sees the set. He's probably going to go into the jungle position. He's like, give me the Lee Sin. But Anis just talked about it. Just to reiterate, I feel like Lee Sin's not going to bring the same value, especially against the Lulu, that sat jungle's really going to start bringing Origen right now.
Talking about value, by the way, Trinity Force and Renon's Hurricane completed simultaneously on that last back. So Origen going to be very happy with their synchronized shopping trips.
That said, Ezreal and Yuumi are going to be massive problems right now.
Yeah. Mirror Mana was completed. Athene's goes out. Upset and Destiny now under some pressure. Look at that damage. The Arcane Shift and Mystic Shot. Perks is definitely got that range advantage, and that was what you were talking about earlier. You have to be able to get close enough to put the hammer down, and that's going to be a challenge.
Okay, here we go, Trevor. I don't know if you've been watching the mini-map, but there's some hunting going on right now. Perks and Jankos with Mickey in tow they're looking at mid lane. Can we find something to kill there? Then we're looking at bot lane. Can we rush down there? Like, G2 feel very confident on this item power spike for Ezreal, and they are ready to fight it, but Origen might beat them to the punch.
Well, Origen are going to be able to take this tower down uncontested. G2 forced to back away.
Really well done.
While that's going on, Jankos waiting in the wings. If anyone lingers, or now Origen are split up. Dun, dun, Jankos can look for that Dragon Range kick.
Origen are doing a really good job playing around Corki's mobility as maybe someone's caught.
Yeah, really respect Flash there from Upset. Destiny gets over the wall for a second before Perks chases him down, but the millisecond Jankos showed up, Upset was out of there.
As I say it, I'm like, Origen are working
Yeah.
really well around Corki's mobility. They're making sure that he's getting waves to shove, and someone has to respond. It gives them numbers advantage. They're taking objectives. One mistake, one misstep.
Yeah, and there we go. All of a sudden, Wonder comes around from the side. Nuke Duck goes out. Moonlight Vigil comes out. The damage from Upset obliterates Jankos. Teleport comes down from Alfari. Powder kegs are dropped and the explosions don't find a target. He now gets exhausted. Cannon Barrage is on cooldown. Has been used. The final chapter's thrown out. Defensive flashes from OG. This Nuke Duck fires a missile barrage down the mid lane.
And it is so important what happened there for both teams. The fact that Origen were able to stave off G2 and now looking for a wraparound.
Here comes Xerxes, the showstopper! Delivers Upset to Origen's waiting arms, and the Zoomy is bye-bye.
What Alfari couldn't get done, Xerxes finishes on. And why that's important is because it sets them up for Baron control. Now, good thing for G2, Jankos is back up and alive, and we're going to see how bold Origen are feeling.
4,000 gold advantage, 22 minutes into the game. Caps is behind the red buff. There goes the paddle stone. Alfari is chunked down low. He's burning from the ignite. Jankos is coming from the south. Sleepy, Truffle Bubble doesn't find the target. Caps unable to find the kill. Alfari escapes with his life. He manages to eat an orange and it gets okay. Upset's chasing forward. Flamethrower is available. Wonder's coming out. No Cyclone. Paddle Stars in the pit. Origen get the Baron, but at what cost? Nuke Duck stays alive, but for how long? Upset has killed Jankos. The empowered recall from Nuke Duck is going down. Origen, they have done it. They have staved off the aggression, and they are in absolute control.
And fortune is favoring the bold today, and it was Origen that struck first. Alfari came in with the TP. Xerxes finished it up. They immediately turned on the Baron. They said, this is our chance. Jankos is alive. Caps can try to poke us off, but they held firm, secured the Baron, and now have the game in their control with the scaling composition.
Deficio said they would take the fight to G2 Esports, and Origen are delivering. I mean, Frost, there was a lot of threat from G2. Let's not discount the fact it was 2v5, 3v5. But none of the damage stuck, and crucially, Caps, Jankos, and eventually Wonder, they couldn't drop the members of OG.
Now, huge credit to Origen that they're taking turns kind of body blocking Caps bubbles as they're coming in. It was good comms around the Baron pit to make sure that no one was taking too low as Nuke Duck just a sliver of health.
I clinched 4 Nuke Duck. That was so close.
But just imagine that world where, because Wonder's, he's looking at that tri-brush, and if G2's members are able to survive from the bottom and kind of herd him up into a waiting Wukong, maybe G2 wiped them there and the Baron means nothing. But Origen get the Baron, they get it out, and now they're attacking the map.
And they got the Cloud Drake as well. So while we were in that replay, Origen are 1 Drake away from the Soul. 4-0-1 on Alfari's Gangplank. He's just completed yet another item. 400 gold bounty. 4-0-2 for Upset. 3 items completed as well. And the reason I point them out, it was Upset and Destiny that started the outplay at the beginning of the game. It has been Alfari that, frankly, had a better laning phase than Wonder in the 1v1. And Xerxes, it feels like every time he looks for a flank, he finds his target for us. 0-0-5. And here comes Nuke Duck. going to be able to step forward, puts the hammer down. The Moonlight Vigil from Upset didn't find a target, so a number of ultimates blown on the Origen side, and now the re-engage. G2 not going to be able to find more, but OG, they're fishing, they're pushing their leads.
Oh no, it's happening though. Vedius called this on the analyst sets the other day. We had an extended pause, that one of the things he was watching out for was how Origen use Baron and why that tends to stall them out in games, because they're not as good as other teams. The other top teams, you know, when you talk about Origen, you're comparing them to the G2s and the Fnatic at sinking waves. Origen have lost control over their waves in trying to force these picks, and yes, it does mean that they have one wave waiting for them, but that means that you maybe get one tower, two, instead of suffocating the entire map simultaneously. G2 have wasted a lot of time on how effective Origen could be with this Baron.
10 seconds left on that Baron buff. It's a 7,000 gold lead. It is 5 towers to 2 right now. And Origen are going to continue putting some pressure down. Now, there is a package available for Nuke Duck. He's going to hold on to it for now. Jankos winning in the wings, and no TP for Wonder. So even though there is deep vision on behalf of G2 in Orange Jungle, they cannot pull the trigger right now. Baron has worn off. OG, they are in very good position, but they're going to need another 1 or 2 objectives before they can close this game.
Yep, unfortunately got stalled out there when they tried to really commit to catch out Perks and Yuumi in that mid lane right there. And because, again, G2 were able to disengage from them, Origen then wasted a lot of that time where they could have been trying to sync their waves, piling behind Alphari, doing this, that, and the other. So G2 will live to fight another day, and that's what's scary, because even though I like Origen's comp, I favorite in this position, G2 in these positions, you give them more chances, they start to run away.
Frostgurn, during the draft, we were talking a little bit about Ardent Sensor, and I wanted to just quickly provide some info, of course, and I want you to tell me why it's broken. Obviously, the heals and shields are powerful. Nuketo's going to chase down Jankos.
It's broken because everything on your screen right now is just the cherry on top of Ardent Sensor. It's the raw abilities that it gives you. Now, we're going to place hold on that because G2 have been caught. They die for it.
Yeah, you're fine. I mean, Destiny just picked up that Ardent Sensor along with the Dead Man's Plate for Xerxes and the Rapid Fire Cannon for Nuke Duck. So why do you think so highly of Ardent?
I feel like, so a lot of our supports are rushing Crucible, and don't get me wrong, the support itemization is way too cost efficient for what it's giving you, and frankly, a lot of it is also giving the AP. The fact that Ardent Sensor gives 60 AP for 2,300 gold, it gives you movement speed, it gives you increase on heals and shields, as well as in the mana regen, as well as its unique passive. I'm like, why? Why does it need movement speed on that item as well?
Yes.
What is the purpose there?
Yeah.
And I feel like you're going to continuously see these items, and they are big problems. They are broken. They are OP. Someone's going to start abusing them.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, it's the efficiency of the item and I think the additional powers it gives you, right?
I've seen Vladimir building Ardent Sensor, Trevor.
So you're telling me it's pretty busted and I should build it in solo queue. Upset is in some trouble, but the chapter will not be done yet. Perks, in fact, is the one that gets dunked on, and it is still a very big advantage. Xerxes, showstoppers available to him. He's looking for a target, chasing down onto Perks. 20 seconds until the next Cloud Drake. This is for the soul for Origen, and both teams are looking for the opportunities, but you see how difficult it is for OG to initiate.
Big issue is that Upset was chunked out, so he's searching for the Gromp to try to get himself back up to full health.
Oh, there's the engage into Nuke Duck. Won't find the target just yet. He's able to use W to escape.
Origen are in a bad position right now. You do not want to be wandering through the jungle like this.
No, you don't, but the Wild Growth comes up. Xerxes gets the showstopper, and look at the damage! Caps and Jankos are melted where they stand, and despite Wonder getting a multi-man knockup, it does not matter. Upsets Aphelios is OP.
And the mistake was, as soon as they overstepped and Set was able to grab someone, pull them back in, and then line it up for Upset. It was going to be bad if G2 were able to hold them in the jungle and to continue to poke and prod at them, but Origen say, not today, and immediately pull the trigger on the fight.
007 for Xerxes. He has a license to kill, but has donated those to Alphari and Upset. 5 and 4 respectively. They've got themselves the Cloud Soul. They will likely get themselves an uncontested Baron the second of the game. And surely Frostgurn, they can win from here.
Finally, Origen are living up to what we keep holding them to. We keep saying, no, they really are the third best team in the LEC. I know, people are tired of hearing about it.
Yeah.
But when they take down G2 like this is the Origen that we're talking about. The one that we know that's there that hasn't showed in the clutch moments. I'm not going to say week 1, day 2 is a clutch moment.
No.
but it is a super week, and you need to turn it on sometime. I'm glad it was today.
And it's crucially important to look at the fact that they lost a game yesterday and they have bounced back. You know, I mean, Aphelios upset, he burned through the HP bars in what felt like 2 or 3 autos. Like, it is crazy, crazy. 404, Desktop's Phantom Dancer, Hurricane, and IE, plus Ardent Sensor on top of that, you know, helping out a little. Plus, obviously, the Lulu buffing. And now with all of the potential buffs available on the Rift, OG, let's look at how they use this Baron.
And there's just no threat against Aphelios at this point. We talked about how Lee Sin was probably going to have a hard time. Probably not going to be as worthwhile as the set jungle.
Yep.
I think that's reflected in Jankos' scoreline just fine. Now, it's not just, you know, Jankos' fault. He's also trying to dive into Lulu. It was already going to be hard. But the fact is, no one can touch Upset. No one can threaten him. You need to have a really strong Wukong to find a flank to do anything. And G2 are stuck trying to fight front to back.
Yeah, and you can see the zoomie on your screen right now. 5 games played for Mickey on that Yuumi. Was 100% win ratio coming into the game. And the question is, will he be able to turn it back around? You have to think with a 10k goal deficit, with Soul, with Baron on the side of OG, it is donezo. Look at the minimap, by the way. Alfari pushing top, while Nukeduck is pushing bot. TP's available for both of them. We've still got Baron. I mean, this feels like it's good setup.
Can we talk about, though, that Ezreal and Yuumi are holding off like 3 people from Origen? They had to wait until the minion wave came in. And Perks and Mickey are still chunking them.
Yeah, they absolutely are. Xerxes is going to find the pullback onto Perks. Jankos is going to step to the side to get away. Right, top tower down to 50%, mid tower down to 50%. I mean, Perks is a machine. Umayan is landing skill shot after skill shot and keeping Origen at arm's length, but they are chipping away at the tower. It's a couple autos from death. Caps is holding Nukeduck in the bottom lane. The 1-3-1 for the time being is now open into the base. Origen have got top. Bot looks like it's going to fall. Middle is just about to as well. Frost, Origen, they're inside the base.
Which means that G2 are going to have to find some desperation here. I'm looking at Wonder, I'm looking at Jankos. Are you going to find the engage? Are you going to find the pit? Because right now they're just getting suffocated.
Yeah, they are being suffocated. They are being drowned. They are being squeezed out of the rift. Cersei goes in, gets the wild growth, goes right back with that insane speed buff. Gets the kill before he even goes golden to buy some additional time. Wonder is down. Origen lose 1, and they will find themselves 4. They will find themselves a Nexus. Origen beats G2.
And welcome to the conversation, Origen. This may have saved you. Yeah? If you lose against G2, it's probably expected. But if you got smashed by G2 after losing to SK, we would have dug the grave for you. I would have escorted into it. I would have put the burial on top.
Froskuren,
well done.
I bow to that one-liner. Welcome to the conversation, Origen. That is such a powerful statement because of the stakes, because of the expectations you have for this organization, for these players. Really fantastic. I mean, like, I would like high five you, but we're not allowed to. Kia player, it's actually shaking so badly. I'm sorry, producers. Kia player of the game suggestions at LEC on Twitter. Alfari, Xerxes, upset. I really, really enjoyed that game, and until, frankly, until the 3rd dragon, I still thought G2 could come back, and after the 3rd dragon, I'm like, no, I'm bought in now. I think Origen can actually close this out.
But that's just because it's G2 and a fast little voice. As far as that Kia, I think it has to go to Xerxes. I have no doubt that Upset will win it because of the massive damage on the Aphelios. Xerxes played that jungle so well. That was big jungle diff.
It absolutely was, and we'll soon hear what Xerxes has to say about that win before Mickey joins us in the post-game lobby. Stay tuned. What a game!
welcome back to the LEC studio for the final interview of the day. Origen won against G2 Esports, and I have Xerxes with me to talk about the game. Hi, Xerxes!
Hi, thank you for having me.
Congrats on this one!
Thank you.
I mean, the Fisher shared some words before the game, especially about the fact that you shouldn't be scared of G2, that you should take every fight you can. But I want to know, how did you approach this game as a team?
I mean, we were like, if we lost to SK yesterday, like, we for sure can win today. So like, we weren't afraid or anything like that. Like anything can happen. It's the best one after all.
Yeah, true. But there's this common saying about G2 falling behind in the early game and then coming back through team play, macro play, etc. So were you thinking about this while playing? Because you had the edge all along, but maybe you thought they would come back?
Not necessarily, because their team really needs to snowball early game, and we got the early lead. So like, I feel like in order for them to come back in the game, like we need to mess up really badly.
Well, you mentioned the fact that you lost against SK yesterday and won against G2 today. So tell me what did you talk about?
Possible.
Anything is possible, but still, I mean, maybe you talked about something within the team yesterday that made your mindset different coming in today. I don't know.
I wouldn't say so. I think we just had a really bad game where we just simply weren't on the same page, and we just did some we took some bad decisions.
Well, I think that taking a game from G2 are very important victories, and you'll get to face them again later on the split. And I have a question, and I hope I'll get to phrase it the right way. Do you think it's easier to beat G2 on the first round robin or the second round robin? Because on the first case, I mean, first game here, we all come back, you had a break. And I mean, afterwards, later on the splits, you have more time to train, but they also have more time to train and get used to it. So for you, is it easier in the first round robin or the second one?
I would say it's easier for everyone, like for everyone to beat everyone in the first round, because like everyone is kind of coming fresh off a break. Yeah. So yeah.
Well, important victory here for you. How are you looking forward to tomorrow's game? Because yeah, you have a third one.
Yeah, like I haven't actually had time to think about it, because like I was just taking one game at a time. Like today, my only focus was on G2, so I will just go home, collect my thoughts, and make sure to prepare for tomorrow against Misfits. And
I'm looking forward to seeing you guys again tomorrow against Misfits indeed. Thank you very much, Xerxes, for the interview, and congrats again on winning against G2.
Thank you.
And we're going to take a short break, and coming back, it will be Shocks in the post-game lobby with Mickey X. Stay tuned.